Welcome back to reading of Pro Caelio. It's been a while, and what happened in the last episode, in the last chapter, we were talking about Catiline and how Catiline sought the consulship with Cicero. Catiline sought it with me, and at that time, Caelius did not go to Catiline and did not depart from the side of Cicero. The story will change a little bit further. Dottigitur annos versatus in foro sine suspicione, sine infamia, studuit Catilinae iterum petenti. Having spent so many years in the forum without suspicion, without infamy, he followed Catiline. He was enthusiastic about Catiline, i.e. he was a supporter of Catiline when Catiline was seeking the consulship a second time. Quem ergad finem putas custodiendam illam aetatem fuisse. This is a question. Therefore, ad finem quem, to what end? Quem ad finem, to what end point? How long? Putas, do you think that illam aetatem, that age, custodiendam fuisse, had to be guarded? So how long, to what end point do you think that youth ought to be guarded? Aetas is a very important concept for this speech because he makes a big deal about Caelius being youthful and so full of potential and also worthy of being gently looked after, as opposed to an older person who should really be suffering for their actions. You can forgive a young man. And how long should you be guarding them for as well? Nobis quidem olim annus erat unus ad cohibendum brachium toga constitutus. For us, that is nobis, there was once 1 year, annus unus. There was 1 year, it used to be the case, olim. So it's like back in my day, there was indeed 1 year set aside for us, and that's constitutus, ad cohibendum brachium toga. This is a gerundive with ad, expressing purpose. For the purpose of binding the arm with the toga, that is, keeping the arm close to the body and not able to do funny stuff. It's a restrictive piece of clothing that makes you a serious person, like putting on a suit. There was 1 year set aside for binding the arm with the toga, et ut exercitatione ludoque campestri tunicati uteremur. And it's set aside so that we would use the exercise, i.e. we'll take part in exercise and games of the field, so sort of military exercises, while wearing a tunic, tunicati. Eadem querat, si statim merere stipendia coiperamus, castrensis ratio ac militaris. Eadem agrees with ratio. And it was the same, ratio is so hard to translate. It's the same thing that you do. What's a better word for that? It was the same practice. If we began to at once draw military pay, that is, earn military pay, if we served in the military, it was the same practice castrensis ac militaris, in the camp and in the military. That's agreeing with the ratio, the practice, the way of life. What was a good way of saying that? In the camp and in military service. Qua in aetate nisi qui se ipse sua gravitate et castimonia et cum disciplina domestica dum etiam naturali quodam bono dependeret. Ooh, we'll have to break this up a little bit. Qua in aetate, in that age, connecting relative, in that age, unless he was a person who himself, ipse, defended himself with his own seriousness and his own purity, and with both, so this cum tum is both and, both with discipline at home. Domestic discipline is like discipline from his household, and also, so this is the both and bit, tum etiam, even more emphatic, with a certain, like, unless he defended himself with his own certain natural goodness, a natural good character. Quoquo modo a suis gusto ditus esset. However way, in whatever way, no matter how he was guarded, he had been guarded, pluperfect subjunctive, whatever way he had been guarded by his suis, his own family members, whatever way his family members tried to protect him, basically. Tamen, nevertheless, you can leave that out of your translation, because you don't say however, nevertheless. Tamen infamiam veram effugere non poterat. He was not able to escape true veram, true infamy, as in a scandal that turns out to be real. He couldn't escape true scandal. Sed qui prima illinitiaetatis integratque inviolata praestitisset. But he who was of such a character to have shown, so that is a subjunctive of characteristic, but he who was the sort to have shown those first beginnings of age, of his youth, show them to be something, show them to be untouched and unviolated. So he who was perfectly good, basically, who showed those first beginnings of age to be untouched and unviolated, de eius fama ac pudicitia, concerning his reputation and his modesty, cum iam se corroboravisset, ac vir inter viros esset, nemo loquebatur. When he grew up, that is, se corroboravisset, he got mature, when he had now grown up and was a man among men, no one spoke, literally no one spoke about his reputation. The implication is no one spoke ill about his reputation and his modesty. I'll leave that there, keeping it simple and just translating